Welcome back to Decode Healthcare with Harshal. Today, we are cracking open Chapter 5 of the ICD-10-CM official guidelines to master the strict rules and major audit traps of mental, behavioral, and neurodevelopmental disorders. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the complex regulations surrounding substance use, abuse, dependence, and remission, you are in the exact right place. We're going to strip away all that confusion and focus purely on the absolute laws of compliance.
Think of today's explainer as your ultimate survival guide. We're going to hit the substance hierarchy law, the strict rules for remission, how to build substance-induced combination codes, and finally, we'll wrap up with the unique rules for blood alcohol level codes. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Substance Hierarchy Law. This is absolutely the core law of substance coding.
When it comes to Chapter 5, this is without a doubt the most critical and frequently violated rule by coders everywhere. So picture this. You're navigating a total minefield of clinical documentation. You open a patient's chart and the provider's notes clearly list alcohol use, alcohol abuse, and alcohol dependence, all for the exact same patient during the exact same encounter. It happens all the time. But if you submit duplicate codes for all three of these conditions, boom, immediate claim edits, flagged audits, and denied payments. So you can only choose one. But which one? CMS gives us a strict three-tier hierarchy for this exact situation. It's basically a game where dependence is the undisputed king. It always beats abuse, and it always beats use. If the chart says both use and abuse, you just code abuse. If it says abuse and dependence, dependence wins out. And if the provider documents the whole shebang, use, abuse, and dependence, you only assign the code for dependence.
The absolute golden rule here is that you must visually eliminate those weaker duplicate codes right out of your mind. You assign only that single highest ranking code. So if you've got alcohol abuse and alcohol dependence staring at you, you completely ignore the abuse code and assign only F10.20 for alcohol dependence. Never, ever double code combinations for the exact same substance. It is a fundamental law of Chapter 5.
Moving on to Section 2, Rules for Remission. I like to call this the golden rule of documentation. Now, this is where coders can really let their own clinical assumptions get them into serious trouble. The CMS guidelines are totally uncompromising on this. Assigning an in-remission code relies entirely on the provider's explicit clinical judgment and documentation, unless the classification gives other specific instructions. Whether we're talking mild, moderate, or severe substance use in early or sustained remission, the actual words in remission literally need to jump off the page at you from the provider's own notes.
It's so easy to fall into the assumption trap. Let's say you're reading a clinical note that says a patient has been sober for 90 days, or maybe they just completed a 30-day rehab program. Your brain naturally goes, great, they're in remission. But wait, what a coder actually codes is a totally different story. You can never infer remission status based on sober days or rehab completion. Clinical inference by the coder is strictly forbidden here. The provider's written word, explicitly stating in remission, is your one and only authority to use that specific code. All right, Section 3, Substance-Induced Combination Codes. Let's look at combining diagnoses. When we dive into combination codes, it's absolutely crucial to distinguish between a physical medical condition caused by substance use and a specific substance-induced psychiatric disorder. Medical conditions due to substance use, like say alcoholic pancreatitis, are not classified as substance-induced disorders in Chapter 5. In those specific cases, you have to code the physical medical condition first, like K85.2 for alcohol-induced acute pancreatitis, and then follow it up with your F10 alcohol dependence code. On the flip side, unspecified use codes are only reported when they're directly associated with a substance-related psychiatric disorder, like a mood or sleep disorder. Let's see how this builds into a single combination code when dealing with psychiatric manifestations. Instead of listing one code for alcohol abuse and a completely separate psychiatric code for a mood disorder, ICD-10-CM gives us a really clean combination code. It's a simple three-step process. Step 1, identify the substance, let's say alcohol abuse. Step 2, identify the induced condition, here a mood disorder. Step 3, combine them into a single F code. So in this scenario, F10.14 completely replaces those separate codes, capturing both the alcohol abuse and the alcohol-induced mood disorder on the claim form in one highly specific, fully compliant code. Nice and easy. Finally, Section 4, blood alcohol level codes. We're talking category 90, Y90, and its special exceptions.
Okay, get ready for a fascinating plot twist, because CMS guidelines rarely give us exceptions like this. Usually, as you know, diagnosis codes must come straight from the legally accountable provider. However, Category Y90 secondary codes, which track the specific blood alcohol level to support the severity of acute intoxication, can actually be pulled from documentation by clinicians other than the patient's main provider. Yes, you heard that right. You can extract the exact BAL from an emergency medical technician's report or a lab technician's official toxicology screen. But here's the catch. This Y90 code can only be assigned if the main provider has already explicitly documented a primary F10 alcohol-related disorder in the first place. Now, beware of this massive audit trap, unless you actually enjoy returning money to CMS. While you absolutely can pull the blood alcohol level from a lab tech's notes, you can never code a substance condition like alcohol abuse or dependence based solely on that toxicology screen. Just because there's alcohol in the blood doesn't automatically equal a diagnosis of an alcohol-related disorder. The definitive diagnosis of the condition itself must always, without fail, come with explicit confirmation from the patient's main provider. And that wraps up our fast-paced explainer on Chapter 5's strictest rules. We just conquered the hierarchy law, remission traps, combination codes, and the Y90 exceptions. Be sure to like and subscribe for more explainers so you don't miss Part 73, where we are cracking open Chapter 6 to conquer the coding rules for diseases of the nervous system. We'll be tackling everything from epilepsy and Parkinson's to the super complex rules of pain management. Before we go, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. When you're faced with conflicting information in a chart, let's say a nurse writes alcohol abuse, but the attending physician writes alcohol dependence, do you have the absolute confidence to eliminate the noise and code only what the law allows? Remember, the attending provider's final diagnosis reigns supreme, and the hierarchy law dictates your final code. Trust the structure, follow the rules, and I will see you in the next explainer.